I used to be addicted to video games. Well, I think I still am. I've just learned how to control myself a lot better. Most days, that is. In fact, the inspiration for this video came from about 3 hours of playing video games while I procrastinated like hell on making this video, which is video number 7 in my 10-day YouTube sprint. In this video, we are going to talk about how I got addicted to video games in the first place, how that affected my life, and how Jordan Peterson inspired me to curb that addiction. This addiction started in my youth. I remember playing games on my computer. I remember playing games on Sega Game Gear, Sega Genesis, and of course, the old Nintendo systems. Now, if you're in your 20s, you probably have similar memories. Going to your friend's place after school to play Super Mario, Mario Kart, Mario Tennis, and Mario Golf. I was obsessed with the Mario games, and for the record, I dominated in Mario Golf and Mario Tennis. But as I got older, and my friends were getting into Halo and Call of Duty, I was getting pretty addicted to sports games. I would play Tiger Woods, the NHL games, NBA Live from EA Sports when it still existed, MLB The Show, the Madden games, and I would play them for hours on end. Now, what was weird, or at least so I'm told, is I wasn't playing these games online, and I wasn't playing with or against my friends. I pretty much spent all my time playing the franchise Be a GM mode, or the Be a Pro mode where you have a career as one player. There was something about taking a team that was average, improving them over a few simulated years, and taking them to the championship. It was the same idea with an individual player in those Be a Pro modes. I would take a player, often an avatar of myself in the game, and I would go on to lead the league in stats or break league records, whatever it was. And I call it an addiction because it got to the point where I knew that video games weren't adding anything valuable to my life. I knew they were essentially a waste of time, really only serving as entertainment and instant gratification. And yet I couldn't stop myself. I would play sometimes 4 hours of video games and then feel depressed after because I knew I had more important things to do with my time. It's actually hard for me to think about how much time I've wasted on video games when I could have spent that time learning a valuable life skill that could help other people. This even continued into my mid to late 20s, which again is something that I'm kind of embarrassed about. Enter Jordan Peterson. For those of you that have been living under a rock for the last few years, Jordan Peterson is the rather famous clinical psychologist, professor, and best-selling author. I remember hearing Jordan say,
"Stop doing the things that you know are wrong, that you could stop doing."
Right away, I thought of video games, along with some other things that we are going to talk about in future videos. Anyway, playing video games felt very wrong at this point. It was a selfish behavior that really wasn't benefiting anyone at this point, especially not me. So I was ready to give them up, and so I tried, and I failed miserably. Honestly, I probably tried quitting about 20 times, but would come back every single time. Now, I want to talk about this because I think this will be useful for you guys. When you give something up, only to relapse a day later, instead of beating yourself up, try your hardest, do your absolute best to celebrate that small win of giving it up for even just one day. I know it's frustrating, I know it's really hard to do sometimes, but you have to sort of train yourself to see the progress that is happening there. Next time, you could aim for 2 days off, then 3 days off, and so on. Even if you fail 100 times, you're still learning how to control this addictive behavior. It's kind of like learning a new skill. You're not going to succeed on your first attempt. You're probably not going to succeed on your first 50 attempts, but that's part of it. You have to go through the fire a little bit. You have to fail to get better. So this is what I was doing. I was slowly cutting back on playing video games. I would go 2 weeks or even a month without playing. And then I came across another Jordan Peterson lecture in which he was talking specifically about video games. I'll paraphrase this time. He was talking about why people love video games, how video games are essentially a simulation for our lives. You get to go out and explore the world with almost zero consequences. Even if you die in the game, you get to come back and play again. So let's take Zelda for example. I didn't really play Zelda growing up as a kid, so this might be a bad choice, but let's try it out. You start as a young Link, you go out into the world and confront bad guys and those weird spider things or whatever they were. And by facing and overcoming those obstacles, you got those heart things or rupees and different kind of weapons and all that kind of stuff. Then you get to go out and learn how to ride a horse. And then you get that cool horse whistle thing, which was pretty cool, and then you turn into a man or something like that. And then most importantly, you get the girl, right? So you're confronting and overcoming these obstacles. And really what you're doing is you're taking on the power that those things have and using it to propel yourself forward. This is the essence of a good video game. You get to live a simulation of the hero's journey that Carl Jung, Joseph Campbell, and Jordan Peterson are always talking about. You confront the dragon in its cave. You figure out how to overcome it, and you grow stronger as a result. And then you get the girl. I think our love of video games speaks to our innate desire to go on that hero's journey. Something in us needs to act that out. All of this made me realize that I wasn't actually addicted to video games. I was addicted to this process of growth, of facing these challenges, overcoming them, and getting stronger. And so I started focusing on real life video games. I started focusing more on learning Spanish. Sí, yo hablo un poquito. I started focusing more on fitness and flexibility. I started focusing more on developing new professional skills to develop my career. And now I play a very little amount of video games. Here's the rub. Of course, moment to moment, learning Spanish, as an example, isn't more fun than playing a video game. But over the course of 2 years, Spanish has been infinitely more fulfilling. It has contributed so much to my sense of well-being and effectiveness, which is something that video games never gave me. If you feel like you're playing too many video games, or you're playing too many games on your phone, I want to challenge you to take a step back and examine these behaviors and what might be behind them. There's no question that video games are a ton of fun, but maybe it's time to go on your own real-world adventure. Thank you for watching. Bye. I'm worried that the sun is setting during this video and it's gonna fuck up the lighting.
Do you want something else on?
No, it is what it is. Okay. You're gonna listen in, are you?
Well, hold on. Let me go upstairs so I don't make any noise.
Okay.
Take out your thing.
Move on!
Okay,